I'll be talking today about a plugin that I wrote with Mark Eves, and it's called CakePdf. It's a simple plugin to generating PDF documents. Before I start, I'll just introduce myself. My name is Jelle Henkens. Some people also know me as LemonBE from IRC channels. I'm a Belgian, and I'm born in Belgium from the Antwerp area. I'm Flemish, and I moved to the UK early 2011 to start working at Jelle Software, where I'm now the lead developer. And we use CakePHP to build a standardized work application that a lot of customers use already. In my spare time, I enjoy being a part of the CakePHP community, and since May this year, I've become a CakePHP core team member. I'm also the founder of Follow My TV, where I'm developing a social network around TV shows, where people can join on and talk about TV shows, and that's also built completely on CakePHP. What's CakePdf? CakePdf is the plugin that allows you to easily generate PDF documents in your applications. The goal is to make it as easy as possible. It's built with a choice with a choice in mind that you can choose whatever backend system you like. If you have a preference for one specific PDF library, you can choose that. And or if you use multiple engines, like if you have a template that uses one specific one and you have to migrate over, you can use them side by side without any problems. It has a built-in PDF encryption. It uses as a second pass, so you can use any engine and still do encryption without any worries and still the same API calls. It uses the power of layouts and views, so you can build your entire PDF template based with all the helpers and blocks and all the nice goodies that CakePHP has to offer. It's also extendable. It's built so you can extend from the existing engines and extend them and add some additional features or things that you don't like about them. Or you can build your own, and you can release them on GitHub and just share them with the world. Why it is built is, like if you see, these two examples have the exact same result, a simple HTML, and renders out the PDF document. On the left you have DOM.pdf, and on the right you have TC.pdf. As you can see at the bottom, there's a lot of different API calls. They all have completely different ways of specifying the page size and orientation, and that's very hard if you want to migrate from one to the other. You have to completely change all your code, and that's a bit of a pain. So that's why in CakePdf we came up with this. At first you think they're very, very similar. On the left it's still using DOM.pdf, on the right it's still using TC.pdf. You have to look very closely, and you can see the only changes are these two lines where you specify the engine, the backend that you want to use. All the rest, all the parameters, they're always going to be exactly the same. Even if an engine uses a P for portrait instead of full text, you can still just say portrait, and it will automatically keeps working. It transforms everything and gives it to the engine to render out. So it has 4 built-in PDF renderers. WK-HTML to PDF. It's an external binary. You have to install it on your server. It's available on all major platforms. So, but it's very fast. It uses WebKit from Safari in the backend to convert the HTML and CSS into an actual PDF document, and it's really fast. And then we also have DOM.pdf, MPDF, and TC.pdf. They're all purely based PHP renders. They all have their own implementations on how to parse HTML, parse CSS, and convert it into PDF documents. They all have their own limitations. For example, DOM.pdf, they don't support float left. So and they're still in alpha mode, so we don't fully support them in the plugin. So that's why we suggest always use WK-HTML to PDF, because that's always the best choice you can take. We use it at Jelle Software ourselves. It's running stable for several months now, and we easily generate 180-page PDFs without any problems, and really fast. So it's definitely, if you want to try it, always use HTML to PDF. It's actually the only free PDF render that actually has a decent support for all the CSS properties on the market. So how do you configure this? After you install the CakePDF plugin, you have to go in your Bootstrap and you have to load the plugin. But the CakePDF plugin requires a bit more than just loading it. You have to specify to load the Bootstrap from the CakePDF plugin, because that Bootstrap file sets up so the PDF view works properly. And additionally, you also need to load the routes file. And the routes file from inside the CakePDF plugin will automatically make sure that all the .pdf extensions will automatically be loaded. It calls parse extensions in the backend. And additionally, you always, of course, have to use the request handler component, so otherwise it will never pass in those requests into the proper view classes. Here's a special case though for Cake 2.1.x. In 2.1.x, there's a problem with parse extensions. If you have 2 lines of parse extensions, and in the first line you have, for example, JSON and XML, and you call that same method again with PDF, the second one will override all the existing extensions. That has been fixed in the 2.2 branch. So because of that, you have to do a small alteration, and in the Bootstrap file, you no longer load the routes file, just the Bootstrap file, and you have to manually set in your routes file add PDF to your existing extensions. So actually setting up your PDF renderer is actually also very easy. There are 2 main configuration areas where you can set up all your configurations. A global settings applies to every PDF that you actually render anywhere in your application, be it in a shell script or actually using the PDF view. So in your Bootstrap, for example, in this example, we load the engine that defines which actually backend we're going to use to render the PDF documents. And in this case, we're going to use a WK HTML to PDF engine. It's .NOTE dated. It allows you to extend your own renderers. If you write your own and put it in a plugin, you can just use your plugin .another engine. And besides engine, you can also define global settings for your actual PDF documents. Like if you have, you can say all my documents are always going to be A4 and portrait mode. You can define it here, so you don't have to do it in a later phase. Additionally, you can also do document-specific settings. That's done in the action inside your controllers by defining a PDF config. You can define engine again here. That's perfectly fine. You can say I'm always going to be using WK HTML PDF, but for this specific engine, I'm going to use DOM PDF. So everything is overwritable. This is default, and this one will override always these. So you can define as much stuff as you want in the global configuration and just say download through with a specific file name. This configuration will automatically be picked up by the PDF class. So this is actually the only thing you have to do. There are 2 ways to actually use the PDF class. You can use it in a classical sense of adding a .pdf on the end of URL and it generates the PDF for you. To do that, you have to define a global layout file for your PDF documents. It's similar to emails. This makes it that you can specify headers and footers in your PDF documents. And then this is used for actually viewing the PDF documents in your browser, or if you just want to pass it and force download to disk. This is good for small files. If you're going to use bigger files, this will take a while and you're very likely going to hit your maximum execution time in PHP. So that's why we also have a second way of doing this, is you can do a standalone generation. This is perfect for email attachments and post-processing, and this is actually better if you're using very large files, because that's just not done in the same process. So the request and the flow. So what you have to do is you have to define your layout file, because that's required. It will automatically be loaded, and you can define your own headers and footers. And then for every action that you want to actually generate a PDF for, you have to define a view file for that specific action in the PDF folder. And you have everything to your disposal to building your PDF templates. You can use all the helpers. You can even blocks elements to build your PDF template, PDF files. You can do a standalone flow too. That's an example to use it without using the PDF view and not doing it in the browser. First of all, you just have to load the CakePDF plugin, and then you just make an instance of the object of the class itself. And this accepts a list of configurations that you can define yourself. This is just a similar way of the PDF config. You can leave this empty and it just takes the global configuration, but you can still override the engine, page sizes, margins, and so forth. And next up, you just pass it into the output method, and it returns raw PDF data that you then can send to the browser or store to a file, or even upload to Amazon S3. Encrypting files. We have built in a second pass encryption where you can specify permissions, so users can, you can say to the user you can only view the file with a certain password, or you can only print it with a certain password. It uses the PDFTK library from PDF Labs. It's again an external tool, so you have to install it on your server. It's completely free, and it's the best encryption tool that we have found. It uses 128-bit encryption, which is strong enough for most of the usages. And it's using second pass encryption. What I mean by that is the renderer first renders the PDF, and it has like the PDF data unencrypted, and then it passes it to PDFTK that applies the encryption. The reason why we do this is so you can choose whatever engine you want. You can use your own custom renderers that don't even support encryption. You're completely free how to build your PDF, and you're still always going to be able to use all the encryption features that we offer. Because existing PDF libraries, they have a limited set of implementations for encryption, or don't even support encryption at all. But you can also just, if you have existing PDF files, you can also use CakePDF to just pass it into CakePDF and just apply encryption. You don't always have to build the documents. You can just pass them in and apply encryption as you want. So there, for encryption, you have different password types. The owner password defines what you can do, what the password that you have to type in to lift all permissions that are set. For example, I say a user can only print a document but not modify or not assembly. So you have to enter the owner password to actually unlock everything to be able to do all the other things. It cannot be the same as a user password. That's a security feature. And then you have the user password. This was a password that will be prompted before you actually have to open the file. So it's useful for copyrighted things. And this cannot be this cannot exist without the owner password. If you specify just the user password and no owner password, it will automatically generate the long string for the owner password. That's just a feature of PDF Toolkit that we can't come around. So how do you actually enable this encryption? Very similar to the render, you choose a crypto engine, and you define it in a similar fashion. You use PDF Toolkit. You define this globally or on each individual PDF document. And to use it, you just say protect equals true, and then you can define your user passwords and owner passwords and a list of permissions. That's all you have to do, and then suddenly you have protected PDFs without any additional code that you have to write. You don't even have to touch your templates. So in this case, the user password means you have to actually type in foo to actually open the document. And I gave you the option to print, so you can actually print the document. But if you want to add a page to the document, you will be prompted to enter the owner password to actually lift all the permissions. Permissions is by default false. That means you can do anything except for opening the file and viewing it in your PDF reader. if you set it to true, then it says you can do everything. So you can say, I just want to protect like opening the document, and once you're in, you can do everything. You say permissions equals true. Or an array of a list of permissions that you can do. So now I'll show you a demo on how to actually implement PDF generation in a very simple application, how to actually print a PDF document. So I'll first show you quick what application does. So we have orders, and then every order, actually my resolution is not that great. So if we view an order, then we can view an invoice for this order, and this is an HTML presentation of our invoice. We want to have this look exactly like this in our PDF templates. This is purely HTML, and to do that, we just switch, and this button we're going to implement. So the first thing we have to do is download our plugin for CakePDF. So git clone git. If this takes a while, I'll use some magic. Yes, this seems to be a bit slow, so I'll just use magic. There, now it's installed, so our plugin is in here. So the first thing we have to do is actually configure so the plugin is loaded. So in config, in Bootstrap, I can make this a bit smaller. Is this still readable from the back? Okay. So we open the Bootstrap file, and then at the bottom, we just define Cake plugin load CakePDF. And as I told you before, CakePDF comes with all the necessary configuration logic to actually configure your PDF views and request handler. So we say the routes need to be loaded. This will download the routes file. That will load the routes file, and we're gonna also use the Bootstrap file. So this loads the CakePHP CakePDF plugin. Next up, we will define our global configuration. In this case, I'm going to use a WK HTML to PDF. So we just do configure, write CakePDF, and then we define our engine, CakePDF, WK to PDF. So this can be the only thing you actually have to write in your code. This is the only required setting that you have to do. We use everything. We put all the engines that we ship with CakePDF. You have to just do CakePDF dot and then the engine name. But let's define some other things. Like we can just do page size. Page size will be A4. And orientation will be portrait. So this is now the CakePDF plugin is completely configured. One last thing, usually people run into this afterwards. If you use any extensions, you will have to actually make sure that the request handler component is loaded. Otherwise, nothing will be actually parsed to the proper view files. So if you go to the app controller, just do public components request handler. So now the Cake PDF plugin is completely configured. Now we can actually start making our invoice actually print the PDF. So to do that, we go to our orders controller. And we go to the invoice. This is an action that actually renders. Just it gets all the invoice view data from our model, that's all needed. And just we do this PDF config equals array. And let's say we download true and file name apples. There. This now it's all configured. So let's say we go in our interface now. If you click this button, we get an error. Yeah, it's all. There's a problem. So this now passed everything in the background to WKHTML to PDF. Let's keep this file and we open it. And here is an invoice, a PDF document. Under 5 minutes you can actually generate, and this is a fairly good representation between these two layouts. Now let's say we want to use Tom PDF instead of WKHTML to PDF. Previously you have to actually modify a lot of code to actually get to that result. With CakePdf, you just go in here and you can say, engine, we're going to override you to use Tom PDF. And then we run this again. It downloads again a complete new file. And we have the same result with Tom PDF. And they're fairly equal. There are some small issues with difference between all the different engines. That's why I always prefer WKHTML to PDF. Now, I told you before about the encryption. So let's say we want to specify a password, so only a user with a proper password can actually print this invoice. So the only thing you have to do is go into your Bootstrap. We define our crypto engine, CakePDF, PDF toolkit to enable this. And then we say protect this document. Our user password, we're not going to do a user password. Owner password will be CakeFast. And permissions. Let's keep this false. So if we render out this PDF document again, now it passed it to the renderer, and then it passes that data completely to the crypto engine, and that applied all the permissions. So if you keep this, open this document, we can do this, but if we try to print, it will ask us what's your password. And if you CakeFast, now we can actually print it. Permissions can be a various list. So let's say we want to also protect this document. So you actually have to enter a password to actually open the document. This way you just do user password equals CakePHP. And let's say the user that actually can log in, they actually are allowed to print. Then we generate this document again. We keep this document. Now we are prompt with a password screen. So we enter CakePHP, then I can print. So it's very, very easy to actually implement our encryption to existing PDF documents without having to read up all the engines. If you're switching engines, you don't have to read up, okay, now how do I have to do my encryption? You can actually do encryption in the new engine. And this way you can develop your developers and designers can develop their own PDF documents in the engine that they prefer themselves, and not having to worry about, am I actually allowed to use this engine because some feature is not supported. You can also view these documents inline. That means you just have to remove this engine, the download, and let's say we're going to do the orientation. Let's put this landscape and page size. Let's make this a very small invoice. I'll make it a big one. And if you go to interface, because download was set to, because in this array we don't have download specified, it will default to false and it will always view the PDF inline in the browser. So if we now refresh this page, it will show the PDF document in the browser. And this is an A3 landscape, and you see it automatically scales everything with it. So that it's very easy to implement. So this was my that was a demo about how to use CakePdf, and you can find it on the top GitHub URL. Feel free to contribute, test with it, play with it, and make pull requests. We love to hear about other engines that you guys know that we can implement for you. So thanks for listening, and if anyone has any questions. Nothing? Okay, thank you.